Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. In this video I will be showing you how to make meat pies without an oven. I will also show you how to make them with an oven as well. Without further ado, let's get started. For this recipe you will need carrots, onions, cabbage. You can use potatoes to replace the cabbage. For the season, you will need salt, cayenne pepper, thyme, bouillon powder. You can use any Maggi of your choice. The one I use does not contain MSG, curry powder, grounded beef. You can use a food processor to grind your beef yourself. I'll be using margarine and butter. You can use either one. Eggs and cold water. And I will be working with a scale, measuring cups, measuring spoons, rolling pin, pastry brush, and a round cutter. You can use a pot cover or any round plate to cut as well. I will start by making the filling in a pot. Add in oil. I'm using olive oil. Once the oil is hot, add the diced onions and cook the onions till the onions is translucent. Add grounded beef and cook the beef until it is no longer pink before adding anything. Add cayenne pepper, thyme, curry powder, bouillon powder, salt, and stir. I use a teaspoon of everything except for the salt. Add salt to your taste. Add water. Stir. Cover and leave it to cook for about 10 minutes. And this is 10 minutes later. Stir. Add carrots and stir. If you are using potatoes, add potatoes at this point. My kids don't eat potatoes in meat pies, that's why I don't use potatoes. In a bowl, add a tablespoon of flour, add water and mix it. And I'm gonna be using this for the filling. This will keep the filling very moist. You can also use corn starch. And stir. And I will cover and leave it to cook for about 10 minutes. And this is 10 minutes later. Add cabbage and stir. So once the cabbage is in there, we don't want to overcook the cabbage and the filling is ready. So this is how moist this filling is. The filling is ready. I will take it out of the stove. And I'm going to leave the filling to cool down completely before working with it. Next, I will measure out 4 cups of all-purpose flour. Add half a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, and mix the dry ingredients together. And I will take that off the scale. Next, I will be using 120 grams of margarine, and 120 grams of butter. I will add in the butter and margarine. I've cut them with table knives already. And I will use a pastry blender to mix it very well. You can also use your hands to do this as well. And this is what you are going to achieve. Add cold water and mix it. I cannot tell you how much water you need for this. Just add water gradually until you get a dough, and it doesn't need too much water. So for pie, you do not want to over mix the dough. Just mix it till everything comes together. And I will transfer into a work surface and just knead it for about 15 to 20 seconds. And divide the dough into 2. I will put them into a Ziploc bag. And I'm going to be putting this in the refrigerator to rest for about 30 minutes to an hour. You can leave it for more. So next, I will line the baking pan with a parchment paper. I'm using pizza pan. You can use any pan of your choice. You can use a pot cover if you don't have a pan. You can use a baking pan as well. So it's been 1 hour. The pie dough is out of the refrigerator. And the filling is completely cold now. And the eggs for egg wash, whisk the eggs together and put that aside. And knead the dough for about 10 seconds. The dough is very cold. Flour the work surface. And roll out the dough. And cut out the dough. You can use a plate or a pot cover to do this as well. And take out the excess dough. We are going to be re-rolling those ones out. Put the cut dough aside. And brush the dough with egg wash. This is going to ensure the pie to seal properly. And add in the fillings. cover it and seal with your fingers so it doesn't open. And seal it with a fork as well. If it's properly sealed with your finger, you don't have to go through this, except you're looking for this beautiful pie design. And I will pat it with my hands to get a beautiful finishing and put that aside, and I will repeat the process. Brush with the egg wash. Add filling. Close the pie and seal it with your finger and seal it with a fork. And I will repeat this process until I am done with this batch. Transfer the pies into the pan and brush with the egg wash, and this is going to give it a very beautiful finishing. You will get a very brown pie and shiny pie as well. And use a fork to pierce it so the pie can breathe while baking. At this point, you want to make sure the oven is already preheating, and I'll put that aside. I'm going to be using pot to bake the pie, and I'll be adding salt into the pot. You can use sand, and you can also use the pot without adding either salt or sand as well. And you will need a rack, and you can use a pot cover or a stove top, but this step is very, very important because you need to elevate the baking pan. Cover it and leave it to warm up on medium heat for about 15 minutes before using it. And this is 15 minutes later. Transfer the pie in there. Cover and bake on medium heat. So this is 30 minutes later. I came to check the pies. The pies are not ready. I will cover and leave it to bake for another 10 to 15 minutes. So 10 minutes later, I came to check the pie, and this is what the pie looks like. They are ready, and I will take them out of the stove top and transfer them into the rack and leave it to cool down. Next is the oven method. I'm going to be using this cutter here, and the pie doughs are cut out already. Brush with egg wash. Add filling. Cover with another one, and I will use the cutter to cut and use the second one to seal it, and you can also use a fork to seal it as well. And I'll put that aside. I'll repeat the process. Brush with egg wash. Add filling. Cover with another one. Cut and seal it. I will repeat this process until I am done. and transfer everything into the baking pan. Brush with egg wash. At this point, you want to make sure the oven is already preheating. And pierce with a fork so they can breathe while baking. And I will transfer it to a preheated oven and bake on 350 degrees for about 25 minutes to 30 minutes depending on your oven. Next, pack any leftover filling and store it in the freezer for next time use. And if you have any dough left, you can also store it in the freezer and they will be good for months. So here the pies have baked for 30 minutes and they are out of the oven. They are ready. So this one was baked for 30 minutes. And the other one was baked for 40 minutes. The pies were super delicious and very flaky. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Remain blessed and I will see you in my next video. Bye.